All right, now let's get analysis on this and other political stories dominating the news in the country. We're now joined via Zoom by political analyst Rebone Tau. Rebone, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Onati, and good afternoon to the viewers. Thank you for having me on your show.
Now, Rebone, before we speak about Action SA and developments within the DA, let's start with your analysis about the closing remarks made by ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa following the party's first NEC meeting at the weekend. Now, he was firm on many issues, both plaguing the party internally and the country, including immigration issues, right-wing tendencies, etc. What else did you pick up from that address?
I'm going to be honest with you, Nati. I've not had a chance to read the statement. I had a bereavement at home, so I'll not want to comment much on it.
No, absolutely. All right, let's talk about today's developments specifically. I mean, let's start with Action SA. What do you make of Bongani Baloyi now joining Action SA, and of course, seemingly jumping, the leadership rigmaroles, if I can call it that, or structures, political structures, right to the Senate, and him obviously saying that, his joining Action SA is essentially to unseat the ANC in the 2024 general elections, talking about just how important his role will be in the party. What do we make of his firstly joining the party and some of his utterances?
I think what is interesting about this whole DA Action SA, relationship, because if you look at, even right now with the coalitions, that we're seeing in the different municipalities, the DA and Action SA are in coalition, and it shows that the relationship are not that bad between the two parties. But this is very interesting because, what does this mean? Despite them wanting to unseat the ANC, that mid-val vote, will he take it away from the DA? Because the reality of the matter is that politics are contested. He will have to go and campaign for Action SA and as they build up to the 2024 elections. And that means that we might also see a decline of the DA in the mid-val, because of then he will have to make sure that he brings votes for the for Action SA from the DA, in spite of the votes for the ANC that they want to unseat, because it's not only for provincial but also for mid-val municipality.
Now, how strategic a move do you think this was by Action SA? He is very young. He's also very successful if you look at his track record from the age of 26 years old. And as you've said, he could be very strategic in the area in which he was mayor.
This is a strategic move. Someone whose reputation is highly, it's credible. He doesn't have scandals, of corruption during his tenure as the mayor of Mid-Val. We've seen also in the past elections how the DA managed to increase its numbers in Mid-Val. So this will really show that the people of Mid-Val had confidence in him. That's why they continued to vote for the DA, because we only knew later that he's no longer coming back after the elections as the DA, and that in December when he announced that he is leaving the DA. So it was a strategic move by Action SA, because the Action SA, if you look at their footprint, is more in Gauteng, and them now going towards Mid-Val, a region, a municipality that they did not contest in the last elections. It shows that they really want to make an impact in Mid-Val also.
He's also made some comments saying that his departure from the DA, has very little to do or nothing at all to do with the infighting within the party. But speaking of the DA, let's now go to the Western Cape. Community Safety Minister in the DA, Albert Fritz, stepping down as leader of the DA in that province following allegations of misconduct. We also believe that there could be sexual allegations related there. How damaging is this for the DA?
I think, issues of sexual harassment is something that we can't take for granted. It's a serious matter. And, what was also interesting, that it's not like it's done to one woman. We don't know the number, but it seems like to be a couple of women that have laid this complaint against him, But also not also forgetting that the DA in the Western Cape, has got their own internal issues in that province. They're preparing for the regional conferences, which are to take place this year. And Cape Metro being one of the highly contested metros at this present moment. So we'll also see certain things happening, building up to these regional conferences in the Western Cape because of the power struggle and the factionalism within the party that we have seen when also the former leader of the DA had to resign, Bonginkosi Madikizela, and some are saying that the current leader who has stepped aside is seen to be in the Madikizela faction, and you might see the likes of Den Plato, taking over for that position of community safety if things play out as one is analyzing at the end of the day, because there's then the JP Smith faction. So this is also not also taking away the issues of sexual harassment, but also saying that politics in their nature, they can also be very dirty. And one is also waiting to see, are these ladies going to open cases with SABC, not only allow this thing to be an internal investigation, because this are serious allegations. This is a man that has taken oath, to serve and protect, the people of Western Cape, so it will be that the ladies open sexual harassment cases with SABS, or will just be an issue of internal issues. But I would think that if they are serious about this thing, they should open a case against him.
Now, it being an elective year this year for the ANC, just how much will the other political parties, like the ones that we are discussing today, including the EFF, in fact, step up to gain from what are clearly heated internal consultations within the ANC? I mean, I know you weren't listening to the remarks made by the president of the ANC yesterday, but one of the things that he did mention is that, there are deep internal divisions within the governing party, and that, there are serious threats to the democratic gains. So, with one's demise, surely then you would expect some of the opposition parties to step up. So how much of this can they use to their advantage?
I mean, if you look at the EFF over the past few days, they seem to be actually stepping up the game. I know that the leader of the EFF, Mr. Malema, was also in Mangaung to look at issues of service delivery, And over the weekend, by the way, not only the ANC had its own NEC, the Hotla, but the EFF also had a meeting where even councillors across the country were invited to this meeting, inducted on, and also given a mandate, what they need to do during this administration as the councillors, that were elected in 2021, and the EFF seems to be wanting to push on this thing of oversight, And one of the things that its leader has been saying that members of parliament, MPs from the legislature and councillors should be playing a very active role when it comes to issues of oversight to make sure that service delivery is done. And what was interesting, building up to the visit of Mr. Malema in Mangaung, there was another voice note that was circulating. I'm not sure whether how authentic is it, but what was interesting that it's alleged that it was an ANC member who was saying that they want the councillor of Ward 1 because Mr. Malema is coming, and there'd been a sewerage in that ward, for days, and it damaged people's houses and so forth, and Mr. Malema was on the ground, and when they came there, the municipality was trying its level best to make sure that they clean up the mess. And it can't be that it has to take a politician to go and do oversight when councillors are elected to actually do their work. So the EFF, I think they are really improving in terms of how they're doing things. We're waiting to see how the DA will do things moving forward. But for now, I mean, things have not been much of the DA in terms of what is their strategy, taking advantage of this internal ANC battles, because in most cases, I always say it seems like the DA and the ANC, in most cases, the DA will be saying we will do a bigger scandal than the ANC, every time when there's a scandal within the ANC, you'll see another scandal within the DA. It seems like they're competing, around those issues, but the EFF seem to have a clear approach on how they're doing things.
Well, on that take, it will be a very, very long year, and I do imagine that we will be speaking to you for several times on this show. Rebone, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I really do appreciate it.